I know most of you know who Mark and Gabby are. They are American heroes. But what you might not know is that my wife, Pia Carestone, was Gabby's chief of staff during the shootings. So this is a family affair for us.
Yes.
And we are so honored to have them here today.
Hello, everybody. Please sit down. Thank you very much. Thank you for the very warm welcome in a cold building. Why is it so cold in here? Kind of cold. You know, try to think. It was around 7 years ago, that I launched on that space shuttle. And when I was laying there on my back, getting ready for that countdown clock to hit zero, not in a million years did I think that just several years later, I'd be speaking at a conference that says, Lesbians Who Tech. I was a captain in the Navy at that time. But I was married to Gabby. And, you know, Gabby is a person that has always run around the country at 1,000 miles an hour. As a member of Congress, she used to work like a crazy person. I couldn't believe how hard she would work to help people in her community and in communities around our great nation for equality and choice and health care and so many of those things that all of us really care so much about. I first met Pia when she became Gabby's chief of staff sometime maybe about a year before Gabby was injured. Pia was the person that told me that Gabby was shot, in fact.
Yeah.
She called me up on a Saturday morning. I'd just gotten off the phone with Gabby, and I knew she was going to do this thing that she called Congress on Your Corner, where she would stand there in this grocery store parking lot, taking the questions of her constituents. And as I remember it, Pia has a little bit different story, but as I remember it, Pia called me and told me that, that Gabby had been shot and didn't have a lot of information. I hung up from that call. A few minutes later, I thought to myself, well, did that really happen? Maybe I imagined this. And then I picked up my cell phone and saw that I had that incoming call, and I called her back. And then that's where she gave me the really devastating news that my wife had been shot in the head. And it was at that point I realized that this is certainly going to be the biggest challenge of both of our lives, even Pia's included. It was years later that I got to meet Pia's wonderful new partner initially, and now her wife, Leanne. Gabby and I attended the wedding in Berlin. We had a great time there. And after that, you know, we've been, well, after Gabby was injured, and then after the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting in Newtown, Connecticut in December of 2012, Gabby and I have made it our mission to try to bring back some sanity on an issue that has defined our country in the worst of ways.
Yes.
Today in the United States, we have 15 to 25 times the death rate from gun violence than any other industrialized country. It's an epidemic. We have mass shootings at a level in this country that compare to almost no other nation on the planet, with I think one exception.
Yemen.
Yemen. We compare with Yemen in the rate of mass shootings. And the number of people that die in our country every year it's ridiculous. 35,000 people die from gunshot wounds every single year. We have another 100,000 people that are shot and injured. No other country that we would ever want to be compared to is like us. And unfortunately, part of the problem is that we have a corporate gun lobby out there that want us all to think this is just normal. Well, let me tell you, folks, it isn't normal, and it doesn't need to be this way. And we know, the saddest thing about this is we know what works. We know that stronger gun laws, make communities safer from gun violence. That is clear. In states that have stronger laws, like California, like Massachusetts, like New York and New Jersey, and Hawaii, there is significantly less gun violence. Significantly. The state that has the lowest amount of gun violence is Massachusetts, with about 2 to 3 people per 100,000 per year dying from gunshot wounds. Here in California, that number it's a lot higher, actually. It's about 7 people. Now, California's problems, your problems here, not so much about California anymore. It happens to be the fact that your neighbors here are Nevada and where we live in Arizona. And there's a lot of gun trafficking that happens from those states into your communities here. But we're making progress. It might not seem like that. We are making progress at the state level in states like California and Oregon and Washington, even North Carolina. And hopefully after what happened in Parkland about 2 weeks ago, Parkland, Florida, will continue this progress in more states. We're currently active in about 45 different states, but also in Washington, D.C. And these kids that I think many of you have seen on TV have been incredible. They're smart.
Woo! And they're queer. What?
They are smart, they're articulate, and they are angry. And we're going to help them as much as we can. We're going to let them do what they need to do. But we also have to understand that they're kids.
Yeah.
But they are demanding change in a lot of different ways. And you've probably seen this. You've probably seen places like Dick's Sporting Goods and Walmart and Delta Airlines and insurance companies react to this. And that is going to matter. But what also matters is who we elect to Congress. And that's where Gabby and I, and hopefully all of you, can continue to be involved. And the people that are beholden to the gun lobby, well, they need to go. People like Paul Ryan and others. We need to replace these people. We need to get a strong Democratic majority in both the House and the Senate. And then we can pass some reasonable laws. Now, what can all you do? What can you do about it? Well, a lot of you are leaders in business. And we saw some change happening here in the last couple weeks. We need to keep that up. So I'd like to ask all of you to get involved in whatever way you think makes sense on this issue and, other issues. And it's a complicated one here in the United States, but I think all of you certainly understand that our government matters, strong legislation matters. It can sometimes be a slow and painful and ugly process. I often think of this issue a lot like marriage choice, right? It happens often at the state level through advocacy and hard political work. You know how that's done. You know what needs to happen to make change. So we can make change here as well, and you can be part of it. So thank you for listening to me on this, but I want to announce before I introduce you to the person you really want to hear from, which certainly is not me. I think we were going to announce we're starting a tech council to try to help our elected leaders do the right thing on this issue. Pass some sensible gun laws. And like what you've probably experienced with other issues, this is like 2 steps forward, 1.8 steps back, time and time again. And it's sometimes hard, to be honest, to be motivated over a long period of time when it's such a slow, glacially slow process, especially in Washington, D.C. But we're gonna fix this, and someday we will live in a much safer country than we do today. I often have to be reminded by my wife, Gabby Giffords, to never give up, never give in. She is the one who reminds not only me, but everybody that work for her, essentially. Yeah, I work for her. She has got to remind us to deny the acceptance of failure and not give up, my wife, Congresswoman Gabby Giffords.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Very good.
Stopping gun violence takes courage. The courage to do what's right, and the two are to use. I've seen great courage when my life was on the line. Now is the time to come together, be responsible. Democrats, Republicans, everyone. We must never stop fighting. Fight, fight, fight. Be bold, be courageous. The nation's counting on you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.